Welcome back, everybody. The Umlazi community in Durban, KwaZulu Natal, took to the streets last week celebrating the provisional suspension of acting Regional Magistrate Kholeka Bodlani. She had been allocated to the Sexual Offences Court dealing with cases of child victims of sexual assault, including rape. But a number of Bodlani's cases had to be taken on review in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act, following several grave, inadequate and incompetent sentences that she had handed down. Now, in the Western Cape, Justice and Correctional Services Minister Ronald Lamola has thanked the community for their assistance, which saw all 68 awaiting trial prisoners who had escaped from Malmesbury Remand Detention Facility being rearrested. To discuss these issues and more, we're joined by the Minister himself, Ronald Lamola. So nice to have you. Good morning to you, Minister.
Good morning, Leanne, and to the viewers.
So let's begin off with Bodlani. Is it correct to say that Bodlani gave a rapist of a 6-year-old child a suspended sentence, citing that the child didn't suffer any trauma? I mean, this in itself caused an absolute outroar, and if according to the law, the prescribed minimum sentence for such offence is actually life imprisonment. What happened there?
Yes, that is what led to the investigation by the Magistrate Commission in terms of the competencies of the verdicts out. Because various appeals or review courts had found that the sentences were either incompetent or not proportionate to the offence or grossly inadequate in relation to the offence that has been committed when looking at all the factors. And then the Magistrate Commission felt that indeed it warrants a suspension, and it will warrant for her to undergo a disciplinary process that will be run shortly by the Magistrate Commission, because most of the verdicts and the sentences were really inexplicable and not justifiable in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act or in terms of precedents or common law.
Minister, what were the reasons given by Bodlani for this?
Yeah, obviously, I may not be able to state at this stage because of the ongoing process that will still go to a disciplinary process. What is the outcome of the investigation that found that the verdicts and the sentence were really incompetent, comparable to the offence. They were not in line with the Criminal Procedure Act, but also in terms of some of the matters which society views as very serious. They were not really, they moved against the norm, against all established legal prescripts, and hence they might recommend for the suspension. So she is still going to undergo an inquiry, which can lead to various things, and I think that's why she will be able to ventilate her side of the story, and then that it will be taken from there depending on the outcome.
So the question now needs to be asked: when did this whole Bodlani issue actually come to your attention? We ask this because one has to wonder how long it actually took to get to the Magistrates Commission, and also why a mere provisional suspension without a final verdict yet. I know you say that it's under investigation, but the sentence was handed down. It's there, it's in black and white. I mean, a suspension for something like that, surely this deserves an immediate, almost, you're out, that's it. You don't even have a chance.
Yes. We obviously have to follow procedures and the protocol as prescribed by the Magistrate Act. We cannot just wake up and say, I suspend you. As a minister, I need to wait for the recommendation of the Magistrate Commission. And because complaints were already late, we are process to unfold. It's true, it did take some time, but at the end, when it came to my table, I did not stay with it for more than a day. Upon the arrival of the report, I signed it off and issued letters to him and to the Speaker of the National Assembly and all relevant stakeholders that I need to inform in terms of the act. And I think the process it did sometimes causes undue delay, anxiety, and also worries communities, because sometimes when investigations take long, they begin to think that there could be some cover up. But we have to follow due processes so that the old alteram partem rule and the processes are fair and transparent to everyone. And we are satisfied that the process is fair and is transparent. We are able to respond to the facts that have been brought to us by the Magistrate Commission, that the verdicts were grossly incompetent, they were grossly inadequate, and various review and appeal courts have also made the same observation, which becomes the grounds of the suspension.
Yeah. Minister, if I may, and I think exactly what you said here. You said once it landed on your desk, it took less than a day to sign it and get this going. However, it took a year to get to your desk, and therein lies the problem. We need to sort this out. You need to sort this out, no doubt, because it's the process that takes so long, and not necessarily, we can't blame it solely on you, because as you say, you saw it, you signed it, it was over. But a year, this is a year, and there have been a substantial number of Ms. Bodlani's judgments that have come into question. I mean, to describe some of them, they have been found to be incorrect for incompleteness, incompetence, outrageous, disturbing to the extreme, shockingly inappropriate, and completely contrary to the very factors relevant to sentencing. And this has been going on for over a year. How is it possible it takes so long?
Yeah, yes, we will have some kind of engagement with the Magistrate Commission to see how can we be able to mitigate that kind of a situation where the process takes long. But as you are aware, Leon, investigations by their nature, they are complex, they take long, because they need to appoint an investigating committee that must go and look at the facts. They must go through judgments, they must go through records and so forth. So investigations by their nature can take long, but sometimes we will engage with them to see what is it that could be done to enable speedy and expeditious resolution of some of the issues.
Yeah. So let's have a look at the judgments now, because this is very important. What is actually going to happen with the judgments that she has actually made? Will they be reviewed in the interest of justice for the victims, or will it unfortunately just be a case of a missed opportunity to mete out appropriate sentences by a law administrator representing government?
Yeah, as you can read some of the judge, what you are reading comes from judgment which were already reviewing, or they were dealing with appeals on matters where she had presided. So some of them already had been reviewed, and some are still in the process of that review or appeal. So the NPA had taken them up for review, some of them, or for an appeal. So matters are, as you have read, it comes from some of the judgments that she had presided over. So some have already been, but there are others that are still under the pipeline, and the NPA is looking at them to ensure that justice is served for the victims.
Yeah, let's look at, okay, we've dealt with Bodlani's suspension, and of course this is pending the outcome of an investigation into her fitness to hold office as a magistrate, which still, in a way, almost sort of blows my mind, because you yourself, as a lawyer, you know that what's been handed down here is not right. But my question to you is, what actually constitutes misconduct or a dismissal of a judge?
Yeah, obviously, it's gross misconduct, a person unfit to hold office, and there are various misdemeanors, maybe a person vitiated by personal conflict of interest, and corruption, and many other things. So those are the things that are looked at by the Magistrate Commission, because those are things that undermine the standing of the judiciary in society. It also undermines the justice in society. It also undermines the administration of justice in the face of all stakeholders. So they are taken in a very serious light, and those are constitute someone to be unfit to hold office. There is no clear and defined rule, but most of some of the misconduct that are generally known in the public space could lead to a person being declared to hold office as a magistrate or as a judge.
Yeah, you know, I mean, just reading some of these rulings by Bodlani. Here's one of them where she is said to have also set another suspect free, citing he was not interested in women because he carried a bag and he styled his hair. How do we have people like this operating in our justice system? And Minister, with all due respect, you know that we have gender-based violence. We have one of the highest crime rates, if not the highest crime rate in the world. And then you have somebody sitting in a court as a judge giving sentences like this. This taints your record and your reputation.
Hence, we agreed to the suspension because it does undermine the rule of law. It does undermine the administration of justice. And hence, the Magistrate Commission made the recommendation and we took swift action with regard to the matter. And there is already programs in terms of training of magistrates and so forth to put them into par with the issues that affects community, the Criminal Procedure Act, but also to be sensitive to matters of gender-based violence. So it's part of the ongoing training of magistrates and the judiciary.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you know, what makes this whole situation worse is that she was actually at the Sexual Offences Court, and I mean, this includes child rape, and this is obviously now what has happened that's really brought this up into the headlines, and we're all talking about this. So it is a difficult thing, but I really want to just again get to the time that this has taken to get to you. Your role in the pipeline, it lands on your desk. We understand this, but it took, as we said, a year to get there. Do matters get escalated to you, or is there a timeous review of these matters? There have to be other ways that this can be sorted faster.
Yes, hence we will have an engagement with the Magistrate Commission because I think this gives a lesson to all of us in terms of how do we ensure that this kind of matters, there is a way that they can be handled quickly and expeditiously in a manner that does not undermine the rule of law, fairness, and it's transparent. And those are issues that from time to time will prop up, as I've said, that investigations sometimes can take long, they can be complex, but we believe there could be a discussion that could mitigate this kind of situation and enable a speedy resolution of issues for the judiciary and for society to restore its confidence in the process.
Yeah. So if I'm reading you correctly, and let's just get a confirmation from you that you're actually going to also be looking into the conduct of the Magistrates Commission that is supposed to act on these judges. You're going to be looking into that?
No, we'll not be looking into their conduct because from what we have in front of us, there is nothing that shows that there was malice on their part. It does show that they followed all the processes and the procedures. The issue is that sometimes the processes and the procedures can take long because of the prescribed processes in terms of the Act. So we'll have to engage with them to say, how do we mitigate the situation to ensure that with these kind of matters, it enables a speedy and an expeditious processes of investigation, of an inquiry. It does not take too long.
Bodlani's case feeds into a long history and a stack of the miscarriage, I beg your pardon, of the law by those tasked to bring justice to the people. How are you correcting this great justice miscarriage, Minister Lamola? It exacerbates the great mistrust that South Africans already have in the justice system.
Yeah, obviously is that those that are in the wrong must take accountability. Processes must be in place to take swift action, and that such kind of actions must be dealt with swiftly and quickly without any suspicion of any ulterior motive So that is what it's supposed to happen, and the various issues of misconduct that could be coming either from the Magistrate Commission or the judiciary as a whole. There must be accountability even within that sphere of the state. And those are issues that we will continue to look into and to ensure that there is accountability. As in this matter, we are going to follow it through to ensure that it does goes through all the processes. We've already reported the matter to Parliament and to all the relevant stakeholders, because we want an expeditious conclusion on the inquiry.
All right. Minister, I need to just quickly move on to what happened in the Western Cape as well. And you commended the swift and speedy response that was involved with the community and with everybody else involved in the recapturing of those 68 escaped awaiting trial prisoners and their subsequent return. Talk to us a little bit more about community involvement in all of these things and obviously how you felt seeing this unfold.
Yes, I think the community in that area of Malmesbury did the job, and it's a sign that if ourselves as law enforcement, government, and all stakeholders work together, crime can be a thing of the past in our country, because in some of the instances it was the relatives of the inmate who took them back and said, "You can't be here. You are a prisoner." The community will see others run, they call the police, and the neighbor would watch. Everyone, the whole community stood up and made sure that they are arrested, including private security. Without them being called, they just sprang into action.
And that...
and farmers and everyone, they ensured that the inmates are arrested quickly. And whenever they saw one, they ensured that they called the police, and that's helped for this quick and swift response.
Yeah, and that's a story that we want to hear on a daily basis, how the community gets involved. The community assists correctional services, they assist police. But, you know, I have to twist it again, unfortunately, and after what we've just spoken about, where the justice system lets people down on such a regular occasion, and the police, unfortunately, also, even though the police, I know, don't fall under your domain, but it's just a general feeling from South Africans that we are let down by government in so many different spheres, whereas we can work together and we can help. But if the justice system does not help us, why should we help it? And that's the bottom line. So, you know, going forward, Minister, and a speedy resolve to this case is the one particularly we were talking about, could set a good example, and moving forward to try and ensure that the right judgment is handed down. I imagine this is your top priority at the moment.
Yeah, it is our priority in the whole criminal justice system to restore the confidence and the trust of the public on the system through ensuring that correct judgments are handed down by those that are supposed to, and that the police, they act in a fair, impartial and swift manner. And also that the National Prosecuting Authority, they prosecute without fear, favor or prejudice. It is an ongoing process, and up to so far, those institutions are responding well, including the correctional services, where they've got their role to play in terms of various issues that relate to the inmates. So there is a collaborative effort that is geared towards ensuring to work together within the entire cluster in a manner that will restore society. It's a beginning to move towards the right direction.
Minister, thank you for your time. Thanks so much for talking to us this morning. That was the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Ronald Lamola, talking to us about societal concerns of a continuous miscarriage of justice by those tasked to do so on behalf of victims, and particularly focusing in on Ms. Bodlani's work, the Umlazi magistrate, who's very soft, as it's been said, on child rapists and handing down ridiculous sentences that make no sense. So that was one of the topics, and also the recent escape and rearrests of those inmates from the Western Cape. All right, that leads us to 8 o'clock. Let's update you with the news. Sakina, good morning to you again.